Hello everyone, I am here today with a new video, and this is another prep video. I am showing what I have prepped so far for my Wales album from 2020, and you'll notice right away this looks kind of like an older style album. It is not. I bought it brand new. It's a 6x12 album, but I'm going to show you what I've done with it because it's not a traditional album. I should also be honest and say that the reason I bought this is because so few places do 6x12 albums. They're very hard to find. And Studio Calico does them, but they're $30 a piece. That's more than I generally like to pay for an album. And I know Hobby Lobby sells some 6x12, but for personal reasons, I choose not to shop at Hobby Lobby, so that's not an option for me. So I decided to go on Amazon and just see what kind of albums they had. And they had 3-ring albums that were 6x12. And they came with these. They have inserts in them that are just for 4x6 photos. You just slide them in and call it good. So it's not really made for scrapbooking. But I figured I could remove those, use the page protectors I have, and hopefully they would fit. So with that said, let's take a look at how it actually fits and what happened. So I want to say first off that 6x12s fit perfectly. You don't have to do any adjustments, or I didn't. The holes that were in these were totally fine. Everything matched. The problem comes with inserts. Because of the way these rings are spaced, I cannot center any other insert. Like a 6x8, I've got a 3x8 here. So I've kind of had to accept the fact that they're going to be staggered in there. And at first, I wasn't sure I was happy with that. But now that I've kind of put things in here and done the prep, I think I like it. So my plan right now is to keep it this way. If I ever decide I don't like it, I'll get the album from Studio Calico and use that instead. But for now, I'm going to keep it. So I just wanted you to be able to see this is a 6x8 insert. I did this digitally, printed it out, have it ready to go, so I just dropped it in there. Then I have a 3x8, which obviously not centered, so it will live up here at the top, but I think this is the one I want to use, so I dropped it in there, prep that. And then I've also dropped all the photos in that I have that I think I'm going to use and where I think I want them. Now, of course, that doesn't mean it won't change. It probably will change. But for now, this is at least getting me started, knowing what I have to work with this album. And part of the reason why I especially wanted to do it with this one is because this is going to be huge. I took so many photos when I was in Wales. It's kind of insane. So as you can see, let's just take a look. Look at all the page protectors that I have planned. That's a lot. You can see I have put some receipts in here that I plan to incorporate. That just helps me with planning, knowing how many page protectors I need, how I'm going to have to lay them out. Because with pocket pages, you always have to know not just what goes on one side, but how that's going to work on the other side. So I believe if you're doing pocket pages, you definitely need to plan ahead. So here's another photo, and this is kind of what I'm doing for each section. I did a 6x8 photo. I printed the city that I was visiting, or town, and then that kind of signals when we move from one place to another. So you can tell here when I landed in Wales, I took the ferry from Ireland, and so I landed in Holyhead. And then the next place I went to was Conwy. So you can see what I have planned here, kind of. Lots and lots of photos. Here's another 6x8. This one's going to have to live at the top. And then I have this fun little insert. These are from Allie Edwards in her last travel release, where I bought almost everything because it was all cool. And I've already dropped in like an extra photo, selfie of me there, and then some things from the castle. They probably will stay like that, and I'll embellish this somehow, probably embellish the back as well. But for now, they're just going to live in there till I figure out what I'm doing with it. Here's another large 6x8. And I do want to say the other thing that someone pointed out to me that I have to give her credit because it wasn't my idea. But when I was debating about this, someone pointed out to me that by staggering the inserts in the album, it also helps distribute the bulk that's in the album a little bit more evenly, perhaps. And I hadn't thought of that, and that's absolutely brilliant. So it made me feel even better about using this kind of an album that cost me half of what a Studio Calico album would. So here's the brochure I have, and then I also There we go. I have a picture tucked into it because my plan is to make tabs for this, insert it so that it lives outside the pocket, and then put that picture somehow on the back. But then the brochure still fully opens, plus I get a picture. And I kind of plan to do that in several places. So for here, I have a 3x8 again. It's going to live at the bottom here. And what I tend to do with some of these things that are digital files is I print them out on copy paper first, so I'm not wasting good cardstock. And then I just let it live in there to see, do I really like it? Do I really want to use it? So that's why like this one's a little torn at the edge because I was just using cheap paper. And then if I decide I really like it, I'll reprint on cardstock and put it in the actual album when I get to that point. Here's another one. So here's my photo for Cardiff. So now moving on to the city here. Here's another 6x8 that I've got in there. And now here's something I'm really excited to try. I've never done this. I'm actually going to use this bag. Give it tabs, and it too will live outside of the page protector. And the stuff that's in the bag will stay in the bag. It will be part of that layout. And then because it's so large, I don't want it sticking out even more with tabs. So I'm actually going to fold in the sides somehow to make it fit better. I don't know how exactly I'm going to do all that, but that's the plan. So I'll try to make sure that I do a video of figuring that out so that everybody can see it. So these are all photos from Cardiff Castle. I took a ton of photos there. Here's something that's just kind of free floating in there because again, this will live outside the page protector. This is a postcard that I bought at the castle. And then that's a photo that I took. I want them to be back to back. So I'll probably have to cut off a little bit here to make it fit the postcard, but I want them to be back to back, just glue them right on top of each other and then be able to fold them on tabs. And I think I have some more, though. There's another insert, a 6x8. I have quite a few here, actually. Look, I have a 6x8, I have a 3x8, and I have another 6x8, and then I'm back to 6x12. I've also planned to put in some of these little craft pocket insert things that came from Allie Edwards as well. And then it comes with a journaling card that comes in and out already with it. So that's awesome. And I know I have things to say about this museum, so I already know I want to use that. So those are the kinds of things that I will just drop in when I'm prepping to make sure that I don't forget to use them. Because my problem is if it's out of sight, it's out of mind. If I don't see it when I'm getting this ready, I won't use it. All right, I've skipped a few pages ahead, and here you can see this is just a 4x6 insert. So again, it's going to have to live a little bit towards the top because that's the way the holes fall on it. But that will be fine, and it works with what I've got on the next page. Another receipt. This, I think, is going to live outside of the pocket. I'm not sure. That's why it's in a 6x12 page protector. I'm thinking about it because I also have this very cool artistic postcard that I want to include somehow. Not sure exactly how, but somehow. And then this one, I found this card in my stash, and I just thought it worked well with this brightly colored merry-go-round. So I've already dropped that in so I don't forget to use it. Here's another 4x6 insert, 6x8. I think I've got a nice run of 6x12s here for a bit. Yep. And then look at this. This one is 2 3x3 squares. You don't see that very often. I got it in some kind of a variety pack. I don't remember. I mean, I've had it forever. And that's not a size I generally use. And so I made it my mission to use it in this album. So my hope is that this is where it will stay. And then here you can see another delineation by city here. Now I've crossed into Shrewsbury, which is actually in England. It's just over the border from Wales. So really, the album is mostly Wales and a little bit England. Here is another sort of unique insert. I actually cut off a row that was over here because I knew I wouldn't fill all of those. So I'm just using these 2 rows. And again, it's mostly towards the bottom, but because it's so tall, it actually works quite nicely here because it matches up exactly with the height of these photos. So it feels pretty seamless to me. Here's another one of those pockets from Allie Edwards. Again, I already have some stuff in there that I intend to use. Some of that may come out and again end up on the back, but for now I'm just storing it in here till I make up my mind. And then here's a 3x12 insert. Here's 6x8 in another city. That was real. 3x8. And then here I've made notes that I want to actually make a pocket down here with my fuse tool. So those are all kinds of things that I think about when I'm prepping an album, just to help me remember, you know, brilliant ideas that have come to me so I don't forget them. And then just to make sure all the designs are going to work because they're pocket pages. So now you've seen my setup for this album and why I chose to buy this one and use this style. And hopefully it encourages you to maybe try some non-traditional albums and ways of putting things together. And I hope you'll come back and watch me do all of my layouts for whales. Thanks for watching.